Look, rail safety is something that has evolved a lot over the years, but there's clearly more that needs to be done because while this horrible situation has gotten a particularly high amount of attention, there are roughly 1,000 cases a year of a train derailing. Obviously, they have levels of severity, but where all of that points us to is a need to continue to raise the bar on rail safety. And that's especially true when it comes to rail that involves hazardous materials. Now, this train was subject to certain enhanced requirements because of the hazardous materials on board. But obviously, none of that prevented what happened in East Palestine. That's one of the reasons we're going to be paying very close attention to the findings that NTSB comes back with.
And so based on those findings, based on the findings of what the EPA is ultimately able to conclude around this too, where is the liability? Where do you believe that, and what we already know about the hazardous materials, what has taken place and the number of people impacted? I mean, the scope of this seems quite large when you think about the number of people who have been displaced from their homes, trying to figure out how long some of this will continue to have longer impacts on the environment that they live in as well. And what accountability do you hold to Norfolk Southern?
Well, EPA has already sent a letter notifying, in a formal way, notifying Norfolk Southern of its responsibilities. Obviously, I can't get ahead of an investigation that is active and ongoing, but Norfolk Southern will have to answer to EPA for the environmental side and to our department if there were any violations of rules that were found that emerged in the NTSB process. And do think they really need to be on the ground, also just playing a role in making sure these folks get the information that they need. People have been told based on the air quality testing that the air is safe. They're continuing to ask a lot of questions about the water, about the soil. Again, EPA is doing good work on the ground. So are the state leadership. I have spoken both to the governor of Ohio and the governor of Pennsylvania, understand their concerns and working on how we can be helpful in the long run. But the bottom line and the most urgent thing right now is to make sure that the residents are taken care of.
Do you believe that this should result in or might result in a redrawing of routes even to make sure that you are mitigating risk of exposure if there are future incidents?
So one thing that does come with these hazardous material trains is certain restrictions on what routes they can follow. And that is part of what we need to make sure we've taken a look at in this context. Basically, the question that needs to be asked here is with all of the regulations, with all of the supplemental regulations that apply to a hazardous cargo like vinyl chloride, how is it that this happened anyway, and what can be done to make sure it doesn't happen again?